to the latest edition of L33ts. We are on Dragon server and Neverwinter online. I believe Dragon server is US and European server.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm here with Mad Matt Windchill.
Hello.
And Randy Ranson McCulloch.
Always a pleasure.
And we are here at the Driftwood Inn. So, giving our opinions on our latest experiences with Neverwinter Online.
Since we seem to be doing the Cryptic series right now, apparently.
Yeah, that seems to be it. We're going to do we did Champions last time. We may take a quick pause to do Halloween stuff. And then cover STO. But today it's Neverwinter.
Yes, Neverwinter. I believe Matt kind of is, I wouldn't say you were an expert, but you're kind of one of the more veteran players here. I mean,
I am the player that has been on this the longest, whereas Randy is also the player amongst us that has reached endgame.
Yeah.
But mind you, I just reached endgame, like night before last.
Yeah, so you've hardly got a chance to really experience it that much because you're probably still playing STO a lot.
I haven't been for the last few weeks. I log on once a day to basically update my crafting and profession stuff. Not profession, reputation stuff. But other than that, I haven't really been playing it with any gusto recently. Been spending most of my time powering through Neverwinter.
Okay. Well, Yalin here is probably my oldest character. She was based after another D&D game I was in. I did have one of my even older characters, which was a rogue, but I just was tight for spaces at the time, and I wanted to make a different character, so I got rid of him, and Yalin is still stuck around because clerics are unusually powerful and useful in this game. And not just for healing.
I just realized my character's helmet has Loki horns.
Yes.
Kind of.
Your character has Loki horns. Loki.
So now my character has to spend ages conspiring on how to kill Thor.
If I could just steal Ymir from him.
You should probably mention that I'm running on default graphics settings for this.
Lisa, you don't have my ugly helmet. Look at this thing.
Yes, I see it here. Let me put on my helmet. Enable visuals. Now you can see the winged wonder.
I take it you're a Guardian fighter?
Yes, I am a Guardian fighter.
Which is why you look like you should be like having Charlie the Tuna on your armor.
Yeah. And not that it does me... Well, it does do me better now that I'm in blue armor.
Yes, you noticed an improvement.
Yeah, I've noticed a very big improvement now that I'm in blue armor, and I need to get my artifact.
Speaking of which, I should have my stuff.
Up.
I'm in blue, starting on purple armor.
Yeah.
And this is the level 60 armor attire for
Great Weapon Fighter.
For Great Weapon Fighter, it's still, I guess you would call it common rares, although that's kind of a misnomer. Kind of an oxymoron, but it's just the rare stuff that drops randomly.
Like off the bosses and stuff. Okay.
I only have one set piece off of the bosses and the toughs.
Yeah.
I only have one set piece thus far, and that is the Dragonbone Sword Knot, which is not really visible, which I pulled off of one of the dragons about a week ago.
Okay. I got some new items here, but I can't equip any of them.
Are they requiring level 60?
49, and I'm 47. 49 and 2 48s. I'm so close! I got like quarter of a level to go before I can get the 48s on.
Yeah, I just spent the morning going through the auction house going, okay, I'm sick of wearing green now.
I just got Ramtel.
And then I went up to Sergeant Knox and got all the level 60 quests, and one of them rewarded me with a purple necklace.
Was someone telling you, Matt?
get 3%, get free gift, minor resonance stone, cash recycling items, and AD.
It sounds like it's a gold seller.
Pretty
Gold
much.
seller. Or astral diamond seller, as they would be. Not that a million astral diamonds will get you anywhere in this game.
Yeah, gold is relatively useless in this game.
Alright, so we should probably talk first about our experiences, maybe with the open beta, or with the story? Or the classes? I know there's, Ren has some negative opinions about this game. But what would you guys like to talk about first?
Well, I'll let Matt go first, as he's the one that's been playing it the longest, and was the one that was most wanting to have us do this.
Yes, because despite its many flaws, and I'll admit there are flaws, I still enjoyed this game for the most part. I believe you guys came in for open beta. I was in like the in-between stage between open and closed, I think. I just barely got in before it became officially open beta.
Mm-hmm.
As a solo play through this game, for the most part, the actual story stuff actually plays up pretty well as far as I'm concerned. There's also a lot of little story stuff like recently, Aaron, you saw the Lich story
Mm-hmm.
in Neverdeath, and stuff like that is really, really nice. Essentially, the basics of the story is that you encounter this, I think it's called a phylactery or something like that.
Phylactery.
Phylactery, which essentially has the essence of a lich in it, and he's looking for a quiet place where he will be left alone for a couple hundred years, so that way he can yes, nice you laugh. So that way he can plot his devious ideas, but also just have a nice time to rest. You take him around the graveyard, and he just can't not find a place to stay, and essentially the end of it, he just gives up and says, "Fine, take me to the people that are going to destroy me." To which the guy you hand him over to is like, "Holy cow! How did this thing not try to take you over? Most liches would try to take you over instantly." Well, we can't destroy it right away, but I know of a place where we can keep it sealed and locked away for a good long time until we can figure out what to do with it. Wait, is the lich laughing? Because it's exactly what he wanted in the first place.
Yeah.
Hey, he's going to be surrounded by buddies. Just like the little stuff like that is what actually makes some of even the short stories in this kind of pop out. Also, I would argue that some of the foundries can be pretty good if you are looking for a story.
Yes, but that holds true for all of the Foundry games, really. There are. I mean, those are all based on the creativeness of the person building the story.
Yeah, well, again, if it's actually someone who's focusing on the story for the Foundry, if they are, however, focusing on just the grind, then, well, you'll just get the grind fest you're looking for.
I mean, well, that was true with Mission Architect.
Mm-hmm.
In City of Heroes. It's true in Foundry in Champions, and it's true in Foundry in STO. You get basically you get three kinds of people that do Foundry missions. People that build Foundry missions to basically get the daily quest out of the way. People that build Foundry missions to basically turn them into farms. And people that do Foundry missions because they want to tell a story. And it's the latter that's always going to come out with a good quality work, unless they're shitty designers.
Yeah.
Well, actually, there was one that I quite liked, which was essentially just a daily farm where you just had to walk around and hit the points, and you're done. But I can't find it anymore. I don't know what happened to it unless
Probably
they
the devs took it down.
Yeah, unless I was just going to say, unless the devs were noticing stuff like that and took it down on purpose.
There used to be one of those in STO where you would basically go around and click on trees in Starfleet Academy and get your bacon. But I haven't seen that one either.
Well, there's stuff like that actually still in here too, but I haven't. They actually don't actually count for the daily, however, which is a little odd.
Well, probably because the devs have made sure that they don't. They're considered not long enough.
Yeah, I really liked the spell plague area. That was a lot of fun. My biggest concern is, or one of my bigger concerns is, the fact that a lot of stuff like the spell plague doesn't seem to really carry over, at least maybe not into the areas that I've seen yet. Or maybe I've just kind of passed up. Like, they bring up the idea of the spell plague, and then it kind of drops after you're done with that zone. You move on to the next zone, and I think it's the pirates after that you have to fight.
Yeah, it's one of my big beefs on the game is there seems to be a lack of overarching continuity.
Yeah, essentially it's just one chapter after the other, and the previous chapter doesn't have anything to do with the next one, except for the fact that, no, now that you're done with that, how about you try this for us?
Mm-hmm. You're basically running around stomping out fires. And, you know, there's no feeling that you're actually, you know, getting closer to solving, you know, what's going on, what's causing the problems with Neverwinter. You never get that feeling going on. I mean, STO, as you're going through all their different levels of crisis, and I'll talk about this more when we cover it, you start getting the feeling that there's something behind what's going on, and eventually, once you get towards the end game stuff, it's going to be revealing who the big bad is. There's not really that feeling here. You go through this, you fight the boss, or you fight the sub boss, you do some more missions around there, you go into the next area, you fight the boss, you're finished with the area, report back to Nox, or do the multiplayer dungeon version.
Mm-hmm.
And every zone is functionally laid out that same way.
Mm-hmm.
And it's worse than that. Most of these single player bosses fight exactly the same way. Attack, 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 attack. Spawn a bunch of minions to slow you down. Attack, 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 attack. The last 3 zone bosses have all done exactly the same thing. So, really lack of originality in the bosses. They look different. They have different style of attacks.
Mm-hmm.
But that's about it.
Yeah, there's no real variety in how they're, you know.
And they all, of course, act like a bunch of bullet sponges, as they call it.
Mm-hmm. That's one of my other beefs.
And that's a very common beef, to be honest, with MMOs, is that bosses just turn into hit sponges.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at least with City of Heroes, your bosses had epic dialogue before the confrontation.
And sometimes would even throw out dialogue during the confrontation.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Imperious Task Force, Romulus, the big boss, we would sit there and listen to his dialogue, and we all would sit there going, if they voiced this character, if they decided to make this an audio, who would do it? And Champions does the same thing. Their bosses will actually speak before you fight, and sometimes during the fight. Then they actually do have voice actors, so that's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they have voice actors for this game too. I think some of them are pretty good. Some of them, actually, most of them are pretty good. I don't think I've found some really bad ones. My thing is with kind of the character designs, and maybe that's just my own aesthetics.
I think that is because you're an artist.
Yeah, the elven eyes bother me because they're not.
Some of them
I'm going
do,
to run over to Matt and show you Matt's eyes because he's kind of cockeyed.
Well,
they have the upwards tilt, which, you know, it's I don't know.
It's very common in D&D, to be honest.
Yeah, some of them though have like, it's not realistic looking. It's very cartoony looking, kind of almost like Champions.
Well, it is based on the Champions engine.
Yeah, but
stop laughing. Okay, I found another beef.
Well, you have to move around in order to make it stop autoing.
It's okay if you want to move around the room. That's what I'm doing. I gotta try and make things. We're not exactly showing gameplay. But...
I wasn't talking that Neverwinter had a lack of voice acting in general. The bosses tend to be.
Yeah, I've only seen like a grand total of like maybe 2 or 3 bosses that have any voice work to them.
Yeah, they're all basically grr, arg, monster of the week.
Yeah.
Well, the dragon roar doesn't count, and I've only heard one dragon talk.
Excuse me, pre-Joss Whedon monster of the week. Back when monsters basically all they did was rah.
Mhm.
Because that's basically all these bosses do.
For the most part.
Mhm.
And it makes them feel...
Their minions talk more than them.
Yeah, that makes them feel really cookie-cutter generic. And bosses should never be cookie-cutter generic. They should have a personality.
They should.
Okay. So we talked a little bit about we segued off into the bosses and stuff. Were there any other storylines, Ren? Were there any storylines that you saw that you liked?
The small individual storylines taken by themselves are fine.
Yeah.
And interesting. It's just the fact that they feel isolated from each other. That's my issue.
So it kind of feels like they're all kind of happening in a vacuum. You don't see them, with the exception of the Cult of the Dragon stuff that's going on now. You don't really see how
that
they
and the campaign
everything.
stuff. And I've just gotten to the level where I can start looking at the campaign stuff. Most of it is locked out to level 60.
Oh, okay. No wonder why. Really...
Yeah, it's all except for Cult of the Dragon and PvP, which has no story anyway.
Yeah.
There's no what all of it was, you need to be level 60 to unlock this campaign, or you need to have done the previous campaign to get to this campaign. Either way, oh boy, oh boy. But yeah, now that I'm level 60, I had just, like I said, talked to Sergeant Knox, and he told me to talk to the people that unlocked the Sharandar campaign. And I haven't started it yet because, like I said, this was literally right before the podcast.
Okay. What about the maps for some of these areas?
The maps themselves look nice. I mean, they give the correct feeling. But it is suffering from Cryptic's invisible wall syndrome.
Yeah.
Heavily.
And this is a problem on all Cryptic games, less so on Star Trek Online.
I would also argue that Champions doesn't suffer too much, but does periodically.
You really get to notice it in some of the outer zones, like Vibora Bay.
Yeah.
Really tends to suffer from it, that kind of thing.
It's kind of a shame because they do reward you for exploring the zones. Like, you can find skill check items that will give you crafting rewards and maybe enchantments and stuff like that.
Yeah, the occasional lockbox or treasure chest or
lore item, yeah.
But it's very, very rare.
And I still feel like the zones are a little too small.
They are, and they don't feel connected. This was a beef I actually had with City of Heroes. Is that going to the different districts, you got, at least City of Heroes had an in-game excuse for it. And that was the city had gotten under lockdown because of the Rikti invasions. So that only certain sections were accessible. But Neverwinter suffers from that same feeling. You see this huge city, but you can't walk from A to B. You have to go and hit F to click to go to the different zone. It's even worse in Neverwinter because it's not X leads to Y. It's you go to a generic door and click on an area.
Yeah.
It really doesn't make it feel like a city.
So
it makes it feel like a game zone.
Yeah, it's even more pared down. And that's my big complaint about the game, is that it's very much a game and not a living world.
My biggest beef thus far, and this is as somebody's playing from 1 to 60, is their sheer level of money soaking that they're doing.
Yeah.
More so than the other Cryptic games.
Okay, before we get into that,
yeah.
Before we get into the big beefs just yet, why don't we talk about some of the classes we're playing? Let's get into some of the basic stuff before we really get into like the meat of the arguments here.
Yeah, we covered the bases.
Yeah, so I'm playing the Guardian Fighter.
It's your
Matt,
basic sword and board, isn't it?
sword
More or
and
less.
board, defender class. And Matt?
The character I have here is a cleric. The clerics are. I don't know about regular D&D. I don't think they have that much attack magic in regular D&D, but in this game, the clerics have a lot of attacks, including some that actually attack enemies while healing the group instantly for a couple hundred hit points.
One thing you have to remember, Matt, is that Neverwinter is roughly based on 4th edition D&D.
I know that, but
And,
again, I don't know the specifics of 4th
the
edition in
magics
particular.
are all the power systems. So yes, clerics did have, you do an attack, you heal the group.
4th edition, actually, I think what you're playing, Matt, it's a cleric, but in D&D 4th ed, they're known as war priests, specifically. There's a couple of different types of clerics that you can make, and one of the two was a war priest, and I can't remember what the other one was.
Okay, I do have to add a minor beef in here, Aaron, just a minor one, is that the names that the Neverwinter assigns the characters has virtually no relation to what the characters would be called under D&D rules.
Yeah.
Yeah, their naming of the character classes is really kind of awkward.
Actually, it does.
Because we're talking about what the classes are.
This does actually follow 4th ed rules, though. Because there are war priests, there are guardian
We're not
fighters.
arguing that they don't follow the rules, Aaron. We're arguing that it's hard to tell what the hell each one of these things is.
Oh.
The names that they're giving, because they're not giving the proper D&D names.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm not. That was my beef.
Okay, because I think Great Weapon Fighter is another version of the Barbarian?
Kind of. It's a combination striker fighter or barbarian fighter. Either way, it's a striker class.
Yes.
But it's hard to tell, for instance, what your cleric is here, and until they changed the wizard profession, it was hard to tell the type of wizard that you were playing.
Because they had such a mishmash of the different ones, and now they separated them out into 2 different ones now.
There's Scourge Warlock, Control Wizard.
Yeah, I really wish they would have actually had Invoker or Evoker as a class instead of Scourge Warlock, because that would have made a lot more sense for the name and would not mean that it would have to be all villainy and evil, as they seem to have been branding the Scourge Warlock. For those of you who don't know, a evoker wizard is a wizard that basically specializes in offensive attacks, like Fireball.
Okay, so that's what they call it now.
It's a type. It's actually, that particular name has been around for a long time. Because you used to have your basic D&D mage or wizard. And then you had your specialists, which each specialized in a specific sphere of magic. You had your illusionists. You had your necromancers. You had your evokers. You had your enchanters. You know.
Oh, okay. That kind of specific. Okay. To me, wizards were wizards and mages were mages.
And of course, I don't think even the sorcerer is really properly represented in here, which would have been kind of nice. What I really would have loved to have seen them do is that you start out in a generic class, fighter, cleric, thief, etc. And as you leveled, you were able to go down specific paths that made you into a guardian fighter or a great weapon fighter, or, you know.
Or, you know, a barbarian or some other more interesting, properly named options.
Yes, exactly.
Instead, they just give you the Paragon paths.
Yeah, and even there, it still doesn't feel properly like D&D.
Yeah, it just feels like it's do you want this generic version of this class, or do you want this other generic version of this class?
Which makes me sad, because Neverwinter is one of the first hybrid MMOs. It's a combination between an MMORPG and an MMO FPS. Functionally, the GUI I like. It does bother me that Cryptic has never bothered to make it fully controller compatible.
Although they are apparently talking about making it for systems.
if they do, then hopefully they'll come out with proper controller compatibility. I'm playing it using one of those programs that you can get off the internet that will map the controller to certain key buttons.
Mm.
And that's working for me thus far. It's worked for me for 50 levels of Felona here. Oh, and by the way, like Matt, Felona is one of my old school D&D characters.
Ah.
I have used variations of her in almost every fantasy MMO I have played. This includes Rift, Age of Conan.
I'm trying to remember how many I've used Yellen for. I think this is probably the first one. I think I just did that D&D game like maybe a couple of months before Neverwinter came out.
Mm.
Yeah.
Now, Felona actually dates back to 2nd edition, although she was called Thala back then. I went to Felona the first time I played an MMO, and I tried to get Thala, and Thala was not available. Somebody else had already taken it. So I upped it to Felona, and I've been sticking with that ever since. I am actually currently playing in a Pathfinder game every other Saturday with our friend Bob, and Felona's the character I'm using there.
Okay.
So
but,
we've gone over... Oh, sorry.
We gone over the character classes we have right here, and we've also gone over some of the naming issues. Should we talk actually a little bit about what the other classes do at all?
Yeah, maybe.
We have the Rogue, which is essentially a knife wielder. They are very good at sneaking for a certain amount of time, but they also have a lot of lunges and jumps.
I have to bring out another beef, too, and that's the lack of weapon adjustability.
I have to agree with that, yes.
I want to play a rogue. I want to play a rogue with a crossbow. They don't have that option.
My ranger, I would like to play her like I actually played that character in my D&D session, which is that she was riding on horseback, more or less. It was a raptor at the time, and she used a freaking lance.
Okay, that one I could see them having problems with. The only MMO I know of that's doing mounted combat at this point is Lotro.
Yeah, but the thing is, I wouldn't even argue with just getting me off the horse, but she should still be able to use the lance and then switch between that and the sword when she needs to.
Yes, I agree with you there.
And her bow was a huge, if I really need to, backup.
I got lucky with Felona because she traditionally has always used a ginormous sword. It has ever since 2nd edition. The only version of Felona that didn't is her AO version, and that's because I made her a metaphysicist in there.
This is kind of interesting because I believe my Guardian Fighter, especially for my weapon crafting, I can actually oh, come on.
Well, Aaron's looking that up. Also, Eolan here, I'm forced to use this thing as a weapon. It mostly just shoots holy magic, essentially.
Yeah, that's your holy symbol, essentially.
Eolan in the actual game, when I played her, she was a longsword user. Because she's an elf.
As a cleric?
As a cleric, because she has elf as a background.
Okay, as an elf, yeah, I can see that.
She's a cleric elf.
D&D, elf's got sword and or bow as a chosen weapon.
And she usually tended to wield the longsword as a double-handed sword, so she was okay with that, other than the few times that she fell down and got herself hurt.
Yeah, my cleric, Gareth, tended to use a spiked mace.
Aaron?
Okay. Well, I found I can use long swords, short swords, and axes. So I have a little bit of flexibility there, so...
Yeah, but, you know, like I said, I would, I have another character on this, Valshara, or Shadow, as she's called, who I wound up making a ranger because using a bow as a thief wasn't allowed.
Yep.
And I know a lot of short bow or crossbow thieves in D&D. A lot of them, and I've played a few of them. Wants to log me out, and I'm telling it no. No disassemble.
No disassemble 25.
Excellent.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've had that option. I don't want to have to use daggers as a thief. I should be able to use a short sword. I should be able to use a scimitar, I believe.
Our wizards should be able to use more than orbs or a single knife.
Yeah, and again, that was also part of a fourth edition issue. Is wizards always needed a focusing implement, a wand, an orb, or a stave. And apparently Neverwinter just decided, you're all getting orbs.
For the original version of it, yes.
Yeah, it's like, fuck that. I want a frickin' staff. I want a frickin' Gandalf staff. You shall not pass, even though...
And where's my pointy hat?
Yeah. It's a problem with that. Like I said, I got lucky with Bologna because big-ass swords is what she does. Preferably as big as she is. So the one I have now is about right. Let's see. I've been playing, like I said, on Shadow. I've been using the Hunter Ranger. And that seems to be good, though I'm a little glass cannony right now. That might just have been... I haven't really used her since the... they had a Siege of Neverwinter event.
Yeah, and that, to be honest, you were really low level for that, so you're going to feel a lot like a glass cannon there.
The rest of the time, I was pretty much kicking butt with her.
Oh yeah, I have a ranger that's in her 30s, and she's still doing a hell of a lot of whoop ass.
It was we play those characters as a group, and it was amazing how fast I would be mowing down spawns while these guys were still getting to them. I believe it caused some little bit of consternation.
Well, Erin does voice her lack of ability to keep up once in a while. Yes.
Please keep up.
You keep picking melee characters, and then all of us ranged characters keep picking everything off on you.
Yes, I know. Just like, let me get over to the boss is already dead. Oh well.
Yeah, that's
Dink.
what are you playing in that group again, Aaron?
In which group?
The group that we have teamed up going?
With Randy's ranger.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm playing Scourge Warlock.
Okay. So you should have
I'm actually ranged.
So
yeah.
she is
ranged?
actually ranged a little bit.
I'm ranged,
then
but my attacks take a little time to charge.
Yes.
Sorry. I said, and Matt's character in that was a great weapon fighter, right?
Yes, that was my orc, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Thus far, my only male, awkwardly enough.
Have it
So
suffering a little bit from digital butt syndrome, Matt?
Well, not so much that, so much as I don't really care what my character is. I'll just flip a coin. Well, Jan here she was actually a character I had. Let's see, the Ranger was also a character I previously had in a game. So those were actually, I'm trying to copy a character I previously had. The third one, I just decided I don't really care. I'm just making a Scourge Warlock to try it out, flip a coin. Oh, okay.
Okay.
For me, I kind of get a character concept in my head and build the gender and stuff based on that.
The orc, however, was also another coin flip. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll play a male this time. Let's see here. What do I want to play? What is everyone else playing? Ranger and a warlock. We need some meat. So, okay, he's going to be a male. Obviously, we're going to be an orc because that's extra strength. And we're going to be a great weapons fighter. Yay, because I can slash things with the power of Grayskull.
Now, we were complaining about the lack of class options and stuff. It is true that Neverwinter has added more classes and races as the game.
A lot of races.
What?
They've added a lot of races.
Such as the Dragonborn for $75.
For $75, you can get an actual uber-powered drow for an extra $100 or $200.
Yeah, that's kind of getting into my issue of them kind of soaking us for cash.
I also wish there were
I believe the moon elves are still also behind a $50 to $75 paywall.
Okay.
Otherwise, they finally added wood elves, and the wood elves are free.
It looked like they added halflings, or have they always had halflings? Or
they've always had halflings. They have not yet to add gnomes. They don't have gnomes in here for some reason.
What about dwarves?
Dwarves were always there.
Okay. Never bothered. This Growgash.
I haven't bothered with dwarves of this one yet.
Yeah, Growgash is my first character and pretty much my main character. I believe I'm 42 or 43. So yeah, she's the one that I've focused the most on so far.
42.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
yes,
I have my
it is
UI.
your highest.
I have
think
my
all of
GUI.
us have our highest here.
Yeah. Well, this basically became my main when I powered it past Shadow and just kept going.
And y'all in here, I kind of stopped doing any plot with her, and she's just my diamond farmer.
Okay.
She just hit 100 diamonds today, 100,000.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. That beats my 24.
It beats
Oh yeah,
my
she's been
38.
milking it for let me see here, almost 10 levels now.
Jeez.
But I will talk about that when
Yeah,
Aaron
we'll cover more
lets me
diamond later.
talk about the
When
the
I
money.
let you off the leash for it, yeah. Alright, so, one thing that Cryptic is known really well, and I think you guys know where I'm getting with this, is their costume designs, and the ability to alter your costumes and make your character look like whatever you want it to look like.
This has to be the most restrictive game they have on that.
Yes, it really fails utterly in that aspect.
Again, I think this is I don't know what is up with Cryptic lately, but they seem to have like growing pains trying to keep their games up to par.
I swear their games are sliding backwards. Like what I mentioned on controller functionality. The best game that they have controller functionality for is Champions, which was the first game that they came out with since City of Heroes, since the new Cryptic, essentially.
Rand, what are you using now for a controller? Because I know you use a gamepad to play this game.
Yeah, I'm still using my Logitech gamepad, which is emulating an Xbox controller.
Okay, but you're using what program?
I recently paid for $10 for Pinnacle Game Controller. Or Game Profiler. It's thus far the best one I've had. It allows you to because the big problem I had with this one is before this I was using XPatter, but it would not allow XPatter to map over the game. The Pinnacle one lets you run it in administrative mode, which will override the game and let you do what you need to in there. That seems to be the big issue why some of these, like the Logitech Game Profiler, which is what I started with, and XPatter weren't working. But like I said, Champions has great controller support. 90 to 95% of what I do in that game, I can just do on their default controller layouts. The 4 buttons that are on the top of the controller can be used to access different part of the quick launch bars so that I can get all of my function stuff right there. STO has limited controller functionality. To be honest, I can get it to move. I can get the ships to move. I can get the first 3 or 4 things on my quick launch bar to do stuff, but anything after that I have to click using mouse and keyboard. So not quite as good as I would like. I'm actually seeing if I can find a supplementary profiler that will basically let me still use that and then use the buttons that STO's not using. Neverwinter has absolutely 0 controller support internally. Nothing. Apparently there was one in the beta and they ripped it out.
Probably because it wasn't working that well, maybe. But also, again, from what I've been hearing, I heard this in particular from Ozzy Arcane, another YouTuber that I have been associating with now for a couple months, mostly with Smite. He is also a big MMO player, and he has heard that they're planning to bring Neverwinter to, I believe it's supposed to be Xbox One and PS4.
I think I heard that too, now that I think about it, because Xbox One and PS4 were supposed to get a bunch of different MMOs, including PlanetSide 2 and
I wonder if that means they'll
Final
also
Fantasy 14.
try to pimp out STO for it if it goes well. STO and Neverwinter are basically Cryptic's bread and butter games at this point.
Yeah, Champions, they still keep popping stuff out, but they seem to just be randomly it seems that they're mostly focusing these days on just making more custom stuff.
Perfect World, which owns Cryptic, keeps Neverwinter and STO as their featured games. And Champions is under their other games. So the big chunk of Cryptic's development budget is going towards STO and Neverwinter at this point.
Because STO has proven that it can kind of stand on its own right now, despite
STO
few flaws.
has a decently sized, rabid fan base of Trekkies that play it religiously.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you're not a huge Star Trek fan, it at least has a very decent plot.
We'll see.
Recently,
I'll try it again.
And I will mention this more next week. Recently, for their new expansion, they've gotten a good chunk of the original acting cast from Star Trek Voyager to voice for the upcoming adventures.
Interesting.
Yeah. Already their last season had Tim Russ in it, which was Tuvok in Voyager.
Okay.
And they're getting, I think they announced 5 or 6 or 7 more additional cast members.
All right, so we're into STO territory.
Well,
now.
no, I know. I'm saying I'm talking about that more. I'm not naming names, but that's just a segment of the effort that Cryptic is putting into that.
Whereas I'm not.
If you listen to the voice acting in this game, it's a lot of fairly good and fairly well-known voice actors. People you might have heard that would voice anime and other cartoons.
In this game, I'm not totally surprised. For the most part, while some of the accents may be over the top, but they are by no means bad, per se.
Whereas Champions, a lot of the voice actors in there
goofy,
sounded like second tier and made of cheese.
Yeah.
They sounded like Tekken characters.
Well, that could be the aesthetic they were going for, too. I don't know.
Yeah, they could be trying for the Adam West.
Okay,
yeah,
so...
but they felt like they were budget hires, is what I'm saying.
All right, so we've gone through. I think we've given the game a good going through with some of the classes, some of the storylines, the maps and areas. For the record, I really liked the Shadowfell area. It was suitably creepy.
Shadowfell.
And Neverdeath as well.
Yeah, Neverdeath and Shadowfell's the one with the abandoned town, yes?
The abandoned town, it's Shadowfell is actually kind of a little quest that you can do, where you enter into, like, it's almost like the dream or the other world that Frodo enters into during Lord of the Rings. It's kind of windswept, and you fight like Shadarkai witches there and some other minions.
I know the next area I have to go into here is the Underdark.
Oh, okay.
Those of you that are not familiar with D&D, the Underdark is basically the underground world. Deep underground is where the Drow, the Dark Dwarves, the evil gnomes, the mind flayers, the illithids that will eat your brain.
And I've actually fought the mind flayers.
But
next week, folks, Randy runs into Deacon.
Oh, by the way, we should probably go through companions.
Oh yes, we should actually cover that a little bit.
This thing has a fairly extensive companion.
Your companion is your buddy. He's a friend that's always near.
Although not in here, apparently. Actually, now I'm trying to look what's going on with that.
I don't know. I unsummoned mine before we started just to not cause confusion.
Mine is summoned, and I don't see it anywhere.
Maybe they're not allowed here. But I'm bringing mine up on my...
Your companions cannot help you here.
Yeah.
Yep. So you're not allowed to have companions in the bar. You can take them with you adventuring. Oh, I have a new active companion slot. I completely forgot that. That makes a total of 5 active companions. Anyway, no, your companion is your buddy. He'll run around with you at combat, assist you with whatever his main tasks are. And I mean, there are healers. There are all the 4 basic types of characters.
in particular, for my list of characters I have right now, I have a dog, I have a combat dog, I have I believe it's in the orb guys. Is that just the normal? What is that
You're
now? Is
talking
that
about the control wizard one that you can
control
get?
wizard? Yeah, I
Yeah.
got a control wizard. He's actually up to level 12 right now. I have a fighter that I have yet to work with. I think he's just a special the weapon fighter, great weapon fighter.
Um. Let's
Mm-hmm.
see. I
I
think
believe.
there's.
I don't think he has a shield by the look of him.
No,
Uh.
you're talking about, yeah, there is a great weapon fighter one.
I
Where
also
did you get a great weapon fighter one?
cash, just the
It's
regular gold. I bought it for 5 gold
I bought it
What
for
was
2 gold, I think.
what was it called?
or 2 gold. I'm trying to defend. Actually, no, he's a guardian. Never mind, he's a defender.
No,
Yeah.
mine. I
But
have
there
a
is a
great.
striker. There is a striker, so that is a great weapon
Mhm.
fighter.
That's
I have a
that's
weapon
that's the
master.
self sword because they actually have their companion names under there.
Wait.
So you've got your cell sword, your
striker
shield
rank
maiden.
1. I don't see anything
Oh,
that
I've
says
got the
cell
con
sword.
artist. The con artist is a great weapon fighter type,
Oh, right.
which is
Really?
really weird. He's not a rogue. He's considered a warrior, and he carries a giant sword and does the spinny attack that you see a lot of great weapon fighters do.
Yeah.
Oh, the cartoonist that I nicknamed Cheap Bastard.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, he's the con artist.
Oh yeah,
Things
then I
I
have to
bought
defend
was
my
a
attack.
cell sword, a shield maiden, a man at arms,
Mhm.
who Matt would be aptly fond of the fact whom I named Duncan. A wayward wizard, which is the control wizard.
Mm-hmm.
A dog, and then if you do the
Minchi.
Sword Coast Adventures, which is their gateway quests that you can use to get stuff, you wind up with a Damaran Shepherd, German Shepherd, which is another dog. Whereas the first dog is actually they're both strikers.
Mhm.
They're just more strikers.
Yeah.
And then you also can get the con artist, the apprentice healer,
Mhm.
and doing the Siege of Neverwinter event. Aaron and I both got Never Ember Guard Archers.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would also add that the new healers, the apprentice healers, are actually a replacement that was originally just straight up Kellenborg clerics.
Okay.
Well,
They just became more well attuned as clerics, and I think, yeah, Yalin didn't get a cleric, didn't buy any of the extra ones until recently, so she didn't get a cleric. But I believe it's was it? No, I'm trying to think. My list of characters. One of them has a cleric still. I can't remember which one.
Okay, I just want to pitch in and say that I love my Dwargar guard. I think he's my favorite outside of my dog.
well, you paid money for him.
Well,
I
yeah.
paid he was on sale for 600 Zen, that's true.
You paid
But he also
you paid $6 for him.
yeah.
Yup.
So instead of maxing out at level 15, which is what my white companions do, the green companions actually max out at level 20. And I believe there's blue and purple companions on top of that as well.
I know there's at least blue.
There are purples, I think. I'm pretty
Okay,
Yeah.
so then blues go to 25, and then the purples go to 30.
Mhm.
And I'm going to get into the process of that when I get into my beefs.
Yeah, there's a purple owl.
Hell out of me.
There's a purple, I guess you call it a rock golem. I don't know how to even pronounce that name. There's a purple honey badger.
Honey badger.
Which, of course, they made just because honey badgers were so
Internet
big.
meme.
I wish I could
Yeah,
summon
and you
my
notice
cube.
how much Zen that one is too. 2,000. That's $25 for a honey badger.
It's also $25 for a sprite and $25 for a will-o-wisp.
And an owl.
An owl. While we're also on companions, there are also mounts which are more or less in the same boat.
Yes.
There's only a couple you can buy with cash. They're all more or less the same. They're all whites.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of the blues, greens, and purples are only available in the shops.
Yeah, you can also upgrade your whites to a higher color, but it costs astral diamonds, so it might as well cost money.
Just about, yeah.
And that's part of what I would like to get into. Am I allowed to get off the leash now?
Yes.
Actually, one more thing
wait.
I would like to cover. There's also we mentioned the fact that there's not much in the way of clothing. However, they have been gradually adding more social outfits, like so. This is actually the mask that I'm wearing is from the Caturday event. Essentially, back when the game first got started, people were actually abusing the market and trying to make a lot of free cash. You see, now they're pinching pennies now. I almost don't blame them to a certain degree, but I still wouldn't want to resort to that if I could. The mask, like I said, is from that particular event. They randomly had boxes drop for people that gave random items, including costume pieces. And this is I'm trying to remember now.
Dwarven mask, I believe, right?
Dwarven face mask, yes. The rest of this is Cult of the Dragon tunic and garb, and also in my inventory, I have the Cult of the Dragon headdress, which, yeah.
That's pretty awesome looking.
It's very big and fancy. And also, all these social items, you can dye. So you can actually change the colors of these things. In fact, some of the Iceland Dale stuff I've seen them dye the main portions of it red, so essentially it looks like a Santa Claus suit.
Okay. One of the things that does annoy me is that you cannot actually use your social clothing or your armored clothing as social clothing. If you had an armor set that you really liked, you liked how it looked on you, but it's like a level 30 set and you need to move up in quality level now, you can't throw that on your social tab. Instead, you have to do this thing with the armor to make it change its appearance to the older stuff, and it costs
if you want to keep the armor, yeah, and yeah, they can't social it, which is also a little awkward.
Yeah.
You can change the appearance of the armor you're wearing.
That's what I was just talking to, but it requires a shitload of astral diamonds.
Yes, it does.
A veritable truckload.
Which is also another paywall that just kind of irks.
Yeah. So now I'd like to actually talk about the paywall.
Yes, the paywall.
Now we can get to. Now let's let Randy off the leash since he's.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I am, as you know, a player of many an MMO, and quite a few fantasy MMOs. And
all of us are.
Sponge you for money like this one does.
Yeah.
It is. Even the other cryptic games don't sponge you for this kind of money. The other Perfect World games don't sponge you for this kind of money. Things I've noticed as I was leveling. First of all, in most of the other fantasy MMOs that have the bags to change the inventory with different sizes, you can craft these bags. You can't craft these bags in Neverwinter. You have to buy them from the in-game store. Upgrading your mounts to a higher level mount, you can't throw more in-game money at it. You have to spend the Zen or use astral diamonds.
Throw money at the game.
You have to throw money at the game.
Better companions, throw money at the game.
Uses astral diamonds as its currency.
Upgrade the look of your armor, throw money at the game.
Upgrade your companions. How much is it to go from a white to a blue companion, or to
300,000? That's $30.
Now, mind you, the average player maybe can pull about 10,000 astral diamonds a day if they're grinding.
Yes, and I have gotten very close to that very easily.
At level 50, you get an extra 2,000, by the way, from doing the epic dungeon from Lord Neverember.
Oh, and you also can get an additional 1,000 per skirmish if you do it during skirmish time, but you have to time it, of course.
What are those marks? Are those like marks for the companions, or can you even spend?
Those marks, those little hand marks. were available in one of the lock boxes several issues back.
Yeah.
Which means you would have to use Zen to pay for the key to unlock said lock boxes. So you wind up paying money either way. And that's the other issue, is that Neverwinter relies on the lockbox mechanic way too much.
In fact, they drop like water.
Yes, lockboxes are something that started in Star Trek Online.
Which they then added to Champions afterwards.
But they were never really a required thing for Star Trek Online. They added champions, and it wasn't really a thing for champions. You could get extra vehicles. Ooh. Yeah, we largely ignored them. But they were making enough money on keys in those two games that they built Neverwinter around the lockbox, the lockbox mechanic. And lockboxes are almost needed for stuff in this game. And
it's the cheapest way to get stuff.
Yeah, and their profession packs, stuff for crafting materials, works through the lockbox mechanic. You don't need to buy a key there. You have to purchase the pack from the in-game store, and you right-click it to get a random selection of crafting stuff, including, and this is what really, really pisses me off, the ability to go from a white quality crafting minion to a green or higher quality. They drop out of those profession packs. Which means that if you ever want to start continuing your trade skill, and the trade skill system I have no issue with.
For the most part, yes. It's actually really good. I like the fact that it runs in real time.
Has recently updated their trade skill system to reflect this one, minus the requirement for having to purchase packs to get your crafting dudes.
Yeah.
But no, what I mean is the fact that the higher quality color-wise your minion is, the faster, when you set it to do a trade skill fast, that task will get done. It has what's called a speed bonus.
It also helps to have multiple minions, because the more there are that you can slot into in the thing, the faster it'll also go too.
Yes, and there is actually, you unlock a trade skill slot for completing a task with at least 100% speed bonus.
Jesus.
Which means you got to have it finished in half the time it would normally take. The only way you're going to be able to do that is with blue or purple guys.
And have pretty much all those spots filled.
Right. Now, the thing that's the issue is the green version of these guys only drop from these profession packs, which you can buy in the Zen store. You have to get 4 of those guys to make a blue guy. You have to get 4 blue guys to make a purple guy.
God.
You need 16 green guys to make 4 purple guys, the maximum you would get for a speed bonus. And everything that drops from the packs are random.
So you can't even guarantee that the 16 packs you open will even give you what you're looking for.
Yep. And in your profession.
And in your profession, neither.
Just to hire one of the white guys can take like 18 hours.
Something to that effect, yes.
Yeah. And the fact is that all you can do with the white guys is upgrade them to later edition white guys. They don't even go to the next.
Go to the blue or anything above.
Yeah, looks like here you need green guys to upgrade to a blue guy.
So essentially, crafting is almost worthless then.
Pretty much.
Because you can't even get end game without actually paying a shit ton of money.
Well, I've seen people sell a lot of crafting items on the market. That might be why people invest so much in crafting.
I was looking for the Man-at-Arms, which is the green level leadership minion. There are none on the market. I looked very, very hard. And even if they are, what you have to pay through the nose for them is astral diamonds.
And be prepared to spend out about, say, probably 400 to 500 for those, I betcha. 400,000.
Yeah, I would think so, if not millions. The ludicrousness of using your auction house for astral diamonds is just unbelievable.
Especially when you have so much in-game currency gold that you don't know what to fucking do with it.
Correct. In-game gold currency, I don't think 15 gold buys you a loaf of frickin' bread. It's bad. I thought it was worse because apparently most of the potions you get endgame, you either have to get from the Zen store or you get from hitting your worshipping. Will occasionally give you a potion.
Speaking of which,
you can use gold to purchase healing potions, which I'm thankful for. But anything for crafting, you either have to run around and in a zone of the appropriate level and farm treasure chests and those little nodes that require skills to unlock, and pray to God you get the booster, or you have to pay a crap load of astral diamonds to either the auction house or a store vendor in the main zone, Paragon, or it's the main town, or the main section of town.
Protector's Enclave?
Protector's Enclave. Yeah, you have to spend there at their wondrous bazaar a crap load of astral diamonds to get the stuff to upgrade your gear. This makes the game not only pay to win, but pay to even play at endgame levels.
So in other words, I'm probably going to hit the wall as soon as I get poor Yalin here up to 60.
You start hitting that wall about 50.
Yeah, I'm actually just looking at the Professions pack and that you can get. You can get the Professions Asset pack, which contains one epic or rare, one purple or blue profession, two purple, rare, or green profession assets, one rare and one blue and one green profession asset, and one green asset.
Yeah, but it's all random per which profession, so it's kind of...
Oh, yeah.
See, now, I was really liking this game, and now that you mentioned that there's such a huge, gigantic paywall, I have no actual normal paying job. What little money I do make is from the fact that I have a YouTube channel and I won't see a check until I hit $100. Newsflash, I'm barely at 20 right now. And I've only had my YouTube going for actual money for almost a year. So yeah, it's not going that fast. I'm still slowly getting an audience as it is.
The fact that it does require astral diamonds means that you can basically do a shitload of grinding. But it is a obscene amount of grinding and weeks of it.
Yeah, let's see here. 7 days, you'll be lucky to get 70,000 if you
astral diamonds. And
if you go at it hard,
costs hundreds of thousands of astral diamonds, and there is so much of a demand on astral diamonds late game
for everything.
To upgrade your companions, to upgrade your mounts, to upgrade your the fact that you have to spend Zen or astral diamonds in the auction house to get bags where you could craft them in other games.
Yeah, you'll be lucky to make 120-some thousand diamond in about a month.
Now you know why we laugh. Why I laugh whenever someone tells me that they're willing to sell me 1 million astral diamonds. It's just like that's nothing. That's a drop in the bucket.
Yeah, it is.
To upgrade your mount from green to blue, what is it? It was what
1.2 or 1.5 million.
Yeah, 1.2 or 1.5 million astral diamonds.
It's absolutely insane, the amount of astral diamonds required for this stuff. They're sponging it for everything they can.
I think that probably this paywall is probably why most of the social aspect of this game kind of died off and ran away.
Yeah, because you
can't afford to even play this anymore.
Yeah, because you have to fork over money hand over fist, and you need so much of this money to do these upgrades. And the same thing with enchantments, mind you. Like I said, once you get past the green level enchantment thing, the items you need to infuse enchantments, the next grade up is 10 times the cost of the previous one, so that you can't afford it.
Yeah.
I'm sitting on a whole bunch of tier 5 enchantments waiting for me to be able to upgrade them to tier 6. But I can't because they all cost... It costs 250,000 astral diamonds for one of those.
I might just have to walk away now. I'm just getting depressed at this game.
This is,
I've been liking this so
know,
much, and now there's such a huge fucking paywall that's
I know
a waste of time.
Last time I played, which is why I was not interested in playing this game again. Now, and the biggest one, the one that pisses me off, is the freaking scrolls of identification. Now, in D&D terms, a scroll of identification is a scroll with the identify spell in, which is used to identify magic items. This game basically assumes magic items are anything of green quality or better. Somewhere approaching over level 30, your character stops getting white quality drops. Everything that drops is green or better, which makes the magic item level in this game rather Monty Hall-esque. It also means that you will go through an entire stack of identify scrolls in one zone in an hour, trying to identify all the stuff so you can decide whether it's worth it to even try to sell it on the market or just sell it for gold, which is effectively worthless at this rate, except for buying potions and healing kits.
Or getting the base mounts and companions.
Yes, but once you do that,
resetting your enchantments.
You don't need to do it anymore.
And resetting enchantments, yeah, which does cost a bit of gold at one point.
Yeah, I've caught. Yeah, and that one costs more as you level, which I'm fine with. It's costing me between 90 silver and 1.2 gold to resocket an enchantment at this point. I'm actually fine with that. That makes sense to me. The fact, though, that gold does not have any other use besides that means I'm sitting on about 50 gold right now because I've got nothing to do with it. Other games like Rift, you can get higher quality mounts for a crapload more gold. I think your first mount is 25 gold in that game. And then the next mount is 125 gold. I'm fine with purple mounts, by the way, being store-bought only.
Yes, store-bought for purple is fine by me too, but
should be able to get a...
why are the greens in the store?
Yeah, why aren't the greens in the store?
And maybe a couple of really high-end fancy blue ones maybe too, but not all of them.
Yes. It's just overly...
And they're in the store for... There's a green... there's a Wolf of the Wild Hunt, which is in the store for 2,500 Zen, which is effectively $25. Yep.
If you look, mounts in particular, the purple grade mounts, the fastest ones, range from 2,500 gold, that's 25 bucks, to 4,000 gold, which is 40 bucks. So you're paying nearly $100.
You're paying almost an entire fucking video game just to get a horse.
Yes. Hell, it's most and more video games.
Depends. If you're talking about like current gen system games, they still sell for 60 bucks off the shelf.
Yes.
Usually. If you're talking like maybe Game of the Year or something, then usually they might drop it down to about 40.
Oh, fuck you, people.
Stuff like that.
They're Oh, no, never mind. Never mind. Don't fuck you. Apparently any amount that you buy is shown as free in the store. So I looked up the Gelatinous Cube, and here it says free under the Gelatinous Cube. I'm like, fuck you.
No. It's just automatically available since you've bought it.
Yeah.
Now, that is the one good thing about that is apparently those are account unlocks.
Oh. So actually, wait. So then I should be able to get my social stuff again?
I don't know about social stuff. The mounts are account unlocks.
Where did you see this?
Because Erin can claim her Gelatinous Cube on another character that she doesn't have it on.
Yep.
Where are you seeing
My
this?
Scourge Warlock.
I assume it's in the store?
Yes.
Yeah, it's in this. Anything you. It looks like the Gelatinous Cube was a mount that I bought out of the store.
Yeah, but where?
It's under mounts.
So I would have to go under fashion and have a look then.
Yes.
Outfits.
Like if you see fashion underneath there and you see something that you can't buy and it says free, you already have this item in your inventory, in other words.
It's not telling me that.
Then fashion is apparently purchased per character.
Fuck this game. By the way, it takes about $1. No, it takes $10 to get any of the in-game store fashions, and by the way, most of them suck.
Yeah.
Lane attire looks bad.
Looked at them, and I was
Sun
like,
Elf attire looks mediocre. Ceremonial garb, ugh. Noble finery, ugh. Feywild, what the hell?
yeah.
Courtly regal, eh. The only thing worth anything is the Corzan's wear, and to be honest, that's iffy too.
Looks kind of whorish to me.
Yeah, to a
Slave
degree.
Leia. If you want a character that looks like Slave Leia, you can now have it.
But the thing is that the fact that it's the only thing that doesn't look 100% hideous is the reason why almost every female character I see in the social areas has an outfit like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've really kind of lost it for how you they've really kind of lost it for outfitting. Back when Cryptic did City of Heroes, you know, they basically made a game where you could basically sit there for hours and do pretty dress up.
Yes, and I loved it for
it. You could just sit around and just play with your character's outfit and everything. And Champions did not quite have the flexibility City of Heroes did, but still was pretty damn good. Star Trek Online was a little more limited.
Because they're trying to do Star Trek outfits.
Because most of your characters should be wearing basically Star Trek outfits.
Yes.
Uniforms, etc.
But that being said, they also have a very wide assortment of those outfits.
Yes, I was very happy playing STO a while ago that their 21st Century pack and something that was a seasonal item meant I could actually put my Klingon mercenary Weefle Boy in his traditional outfit. I was very happy about that because that meant that there was enough flexibility that I could do it. I'm still not happy with the amount of things that I can't cross-customize. I can't use like the Conwear as duty uniforms, etc. So it's not quite perfect. This game, however, it is leaps and bounds above this game. Where, yeah, you have a few. The way this one's set up reminds me a bit on how stuff was set up in Secret World, and that there was a very limited set of what you could wear, but even that one was better than this.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm even going to log into this game again tomorrow now.
I'm sorry to have put your
I didn't realize there's such a goddamn fucking paywall. I just wasted months on this now.
It was what turned me off to this game the last time we tried playing this.
You didn't really explain it well enough, and I was still up.
I didn't have enough endgame experience to know quite how bad it was, but I suspected.
Fuck.
Because I only played about 25 levels last time. And I was just starting to see the paywall.
Yeah.
I've played 60 levels. I'm in endgame. The paywall's there. It's large. It's in my face.
Yeah.
And at the time where I was playing it, I was kind of hoping that Cryptic would grow out of it. Or that they would, make some changes.
Or that's just beta and they're just trying to get a little bit extra milking of the honeys before they go full blown. But no.
the Neverwinter's been out for over a year now, and they're not showing any signs of letting up the paywall. I was looking at the cost of their expansions and their races, and that's
They're fucking
absolutely
ludicrous.
obscene.
They're absolutely goddamn fucking ludicrous.
Yeah.
$200 for a fucking variant of the Drow class. Kiss my ass.
Yeah.
It's not even, it's not, well, when we say variant, what is the difference between the two Drow classes that they have?
Essentially, the basic Drow that you get for free is essentially a normal surface Drow. Or at
Is
least
it
for background story.
Menzo Refugee? Menzo Refugee is what it's called?
They're your typical refugees that are on the surface world, yes.
Uh-huh.
Whereas the pay to get Drow are actually Underdark Drow, which I believe, even in normal D&D, has extra stats to them.
Mm-hmm.
Which means that they're technically a pay to get extra stat boosts right out the gate.
Pay to win. It's pay to win, really.
Wow. No wonder why, when we were on Elder Scrolls Online on the open beta, someone was asking about how Neverwinter was going in the general chat, and I was like, it's okay, and then someone jumped in right away and he's like, it sucks. It sucks.
It's now the thing is, the thing that makes me cry is this game had a lot of potential.
It still does, but they're not laying up this bullshit.
I like the combat. The combat is fun and visceral.
Yeah, the interface is great. It actually takes the fourth edition system and makes it work on an MMO level. Now, I've played a lot of 4th edition, and the first time I read a 4th edition look, it's like, wow, you got your MMO in my D&D, which I don't like on a tabletop role-playing experience.
Yeah.
But here in a virtual world, it's beautiful. 4th edition was made for an MMO.
Mm-hmm.
And here you see that, you know, even though they're using the term, they're still using the term at will, encounter, and daily. Though, you know, it's kind of a misnomer in this. It should be immediate, short, and long powers, essentially, because that's the different powers you use.
Mm-hmm.
It's the system translates over very nicely to doing this, and the interface on it, the hybrid between the MMORPG and the MMO-FPS is, although I guess FPS in this point would be first-person slicer, is wonderful. It's a joy to play until you hit that goddamn paywall.
Oh, and also the fact that the walk option isn't anything that exists unless you actually keybind it.
Yeah.
Manually.
Yeah, and the RP aspect of this game,
which should be prevalent because it's D and freaking D.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of sucks. The hybrid, the actual hybrid STO has for going between FPS and RP mode, I actually like better. Because there you hit like the X button or the B button or somewhere in there, the C button, I think, something like that. I don't know, one of these buttons, and you're normally in RP mode, which means your character runs and moves like it does in most MMOs. But you do that, and you get a targeting reticle up, and it starts moving like it is on this one. But what that means is that you can be FPS-y where it pays to be FPS-y, and RPG where it pays to be RPG, places like here. I really wish they had a version of that here where you could move like a normal MMO in social situations.
Yeah, the only way of moving your cursor around at all is by hitting the Alt key, and then the screen goes dark. So if I want to perform, for example, if I want to perform an air guitar for you, I actually have to have there.
Yeah.
And now I can go into inspect mode, which is what hitting the B key does. B as in boy. That'll actually put you in inspect mode with a little watermark at the bottom here. And you'll be able to observe whatever emote you're doing.
But yeah, it's really kind of awkward and clunky for the social aspect.
Mm-hmm.
And for D&D, that's one thing you shouldn't be, is awkward and clunky for social.
Yeah, it should be smooth as ice for your character stuff.
So,
Like,
in short, Cryptic had a wonderful idea that didn't implement well, and now they're trying to get you to pay through the nose for it. Just because it has that wonderful name D&D and you're in the Forgotten Realms.
you can play as Drizzt. And Matt is so depressed he's fallen into silence because he really genuinely enjoys this game.
Yeah, Matt was the one that was really pushing us to play this.
Mm-hmm.
But in my opinion, and
Matt.
this is my opinion at this point, thus far the best fantasy MMO experience I've had is Rift at this point.
I can't stand Rift.
Mine is Lord of the Rings Online.
Lord of the Rings is definitely up there for me.
I wish I could play Lord of the Rings Online.
I've mentioned my beef with Lord of the Rings Online and the fact that you kind of feel like everyone's bitch for the first 20 levels.
But that's the first 20 levels, and the rest of the game will take a while, to be honest, compared to the first 20 levels.
I'll admit to enjoying myself in Lord of the Rings once I got past that 20 on my dwarf. And was running around the higher level zones going da, 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 and beating the shit out of stuff.
And telling Mr. He-Dee-Doo to go piss off.
Oh yeah, that's my other beef with Lord of the Rings, is the fact that all the hobbits apparently are absolutely stupid. and bordering on like suicidally stupid.
And Tom Bombadil's a bitch. And that pain in my ass.
And I hate him, yes. He needs to die in a fire. But, all in all, it's more enjoyable to play than this game.
Actually, Matt, you mentioned that they don't... It's more enjoyable
to play in this game.
You actually mentioned, Matt, that they don't really have a day-night cycle here.
In this main area, no. Actually, now that I think of it, in any of the areas, no.
I've seen a day-night cycle in this game.
Okay.
Yeah, by switching areas.
It's a lot slower than other MMOs.
I think the only place I've seen a day-night cycle is the one forest area. I think that's about it.
No, I've been in Protector's Enclave at twilight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when a special event happens. That's the only time I've seen day and night change. Is when they switch events. That's the only time it changes.
Like during the Siege of Neverwinter, which was just going on. That was actually kind of fun. I really liked the
nighttime the entire time.
Yeah, what do you guys think of the events that they have on, like Siege of Neverwinter, the Gift of the Gods event, or Challenge of the Gods event?
They're too short.
Okay.
Yeah, they run a little too short. You don't get a chance to really get into them.
You have to really look at the rewards if you want to earn them. Like, I had to really make sure
I
popped on every day. You also
have to be close to endgame, if not precisely endgame, in order to do like half of them as fast as you want to do them.
In order to get that archer, you had to be on like as soon as possible, as soon as the timer reset. Because it took
that timer was fucked up too.
Yeah,
it said 4 days. It said 4 hours. It actually took 18 hours.
So yeah, there's some fundamental issues there that this game. First of all, this game needed at least another 6 months to a year to cook in development. As some of these fundamental flaws were addressed and looked at, it needed to be beta tested longer, and the value of stuff needed to be beta tested longer. And I don't really see PWI Cryptic really putting that further effort into fixing these inherent flaws.
Not unless enough people stop playing that they go, well, we sunk enough money into this and people are turning away because they have to pay so much extra money still. I guess we can lighten up. But that's not going to happen anytime soon, I think. Because they're still making money hand over fist on this at the moment.
And let's just point out that this also kind of affects the community here too.
Yeah, and the community is at best lackluster lately.
Yeah, it's not absolutely rancid. I've seen worse.
Oh,
All
we've
points
seen
bulletin.
worse.
All points bulletin reloaded. I'm looking at you.
The
At least.
All Points Bulletin. I've heard that some of the older MMOs that were aimed towards a younger crowd are also god awful in the
Maple
chats.
Story, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at Maple Story. Although they are trying to change their image.
Good luck with that.
Uh-huh.
Changing their image will mean getting rid of like 3/4 of their paying customers. So yeah.
Okay.
No. Yeah.
I believe we're in the last 5 minutes, or 4 minutes and 4.5 minutes or so. Any last final thoughts, or is that pretty much it? Should people give this game a try?
To be honest, unless it's fixed, I honestly don't think so. Unless you're only going to play for the first 20, 25 levels and then get out and you just want to experience a touch of that Forgotten Realms feel, then it's okay. Other than that, if you're really looking for a designated long-term fantasy MMO experience, look someplace else.
Okay. What about you, Matt? You were such a gun-ho fan of this game, and now you're crying again. I'm sorry. If I had a back pat, you know, Lord of the Rings Online would have a back pat emote. I could pat you on the back and make you feel better.
They don't have that either! God. Cryptic, you're infuriating me now. I might uninstall this by tomorrow now. The paywall has so depressed me because it's so encompassing and just bullshit.
Yeah. Well, like I said, when I played the first time, I kind of knew that was coming.
Well, you'd think that they would have gotten the feedback in beta, hey, this is kind of hard to get around. Do you mind to lower this? This is a little obscene. Nope.
The sigh, and I guess my opinion, as Matt walks off, with his clippy dress of Dune. By the way, if you look closely,
let's show you. This is just the quality of this.
Let's walk into the light so I can actually walk into the light and stretch your legs out. Yep, there you go. There we see it.
Show you that again. Slowly walking, and you should see it pretty clearly any minute now.
Yeah, we can. If you can't see it, Matt's legs are actually clipping through the skirt.
It doesn't help that the skirt is working like a pair of pants. Fuck you.
Yeah, it really is. Good thing your character was wearing pants, Matt, or I'd see everything.
My opinion, I guess, since I'm the last one to really give it, is if you want to experience the combat, which is kind of fun, it's a sticky combat. They designed it to not be floaty.
It's very grounded, yes.
Yeah. So you take a swing with your sword, you can't automatically dash off to the side. You have to stand still and swing your sword. You can't just run off all over the place and whipping around. It's not very fast combat, but it's very heavy-handed combat. You feel the weight of the weapons a bit, which can be frustrating for some people, on the other hand. So, So if you look at me, I'm trying to move, but I can't move. So I have to stand my ground here.
Graphically, it's pretty beautiful.
Yeah.
Watch me hit this encounter power again, and keep your eyes on the floorboards. You might want to move. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice and beautiful.
Of course, the wood turns to stone magically, but.
Yeah, well, they're expecting you to be doing it outdoors, not in the middle of a bar.
Yeah.
I'm gonna shine a little light on your face.
Ah.
What's wrong with your face?
I like the rainbow aura.
It's a beautiful game with a beautiful interface that suffers from a lot of other problems. And I think we all agree on that.
Just like Arcade.
Oh, yeah, we'll probably have to go and do that one.
Ooh, shots fired.
We'll try to do that one. I'll see. I don't know if Randy can even do that one on his computer.
I don't want to do it. If I have to download that other extra program again, I don't want to.
Neverwinter is about the extent of my computer's capability. I had to turn this one down to minimum, and I still lag like fuck in Protector's Enclave.
Yeah, think for Archage or Arch, however you
Archage.
want to pronounce it, Archage. I pronounce it that way. I've heard it pronounced as Archage too. But think Perfect World International or World of Warcraft done on the Crysis engine. Actually, Perfect World International. World of Warcraft at least has a storyline and cutscenes and a lot of fun stuff. Archage has cutscenes too, but
yeah, it has
incredibly-
cutscenes, but they're just heavy-handed, boring cutscenes that don't really add anything to your actual character.
it's really grindy. Really, it's your
And
typical
for a
MMO.
sandbox, yeah, the only thing you can really do is either grind killing things or go grind missions. It's not a sandbox.
Until you hit level 30 when they actually allow you to build stuff. But that is Archage.
that.
Our next game is going to be, well, for October we will be jumping into some of the Halloween events and trying to grab footage of that.
Or for later October. This was actually supposed to come out in September, but got delayed due to real life.
Yeah.
The life is a pain.
So I will try to edit this as fast as possible. Then we'll jump into the events for October.
We don't know if we're going to be able to cover Lotro this year because Aaron still can't log on.
Yeah, for some reason.
You really need to talk to them about that. There's something up.
Yeah, and I miss playing Lotro.
I miss having people to play Lotro with. I don't get to even see Sarah anymore these days. To begin
Sarah's
with.
in like level 75 zone.
Yeah.
Slowly grinding.
I think I'm near like level 50 zones or something like that.
Jesus. See, I haven't been touching it because
I haven't touched it in a while either. That was how far I got when I was power leveling my dwarf. But after Halloween, we are going to do the third of our Cryptic series. My favorite Cryptic game, Star Trek Online.
we might be looking at that just for Halloween stuff too.
Yeah, they have a little bit in there. But the big thing that I'm going to want to feature is that Star Trek Online's new upgrade is coming out, or their new expansion is coming out next week.
Ooh, yeah.
To Rising, which is Star Trek's return to the Delta Quadrant.
All right, cool.
Which is going to get huge.
All right, so
Randy has to find his emotes first, and Matt's
no,
trying.
I have them there. They're just sitting somewhere on my under my mission thing. That's really bad too. All right, so we're saying goodbye.
Goodbye.
Get out of my teardrops. Gotta see my way around. Ooh, get out of my teardrops. Gotta see my way around. Ooh, get out of my teardrops. I got honey by the pound.
Get on my ladder, man. Got to climb up pretty tall. Get on my ladder, man. Got to climb up pretty tall. Get on my ladder, man. Ain't no one gonna make me drop. Yeah.
Are you tired of slow mounts with 25% run speed ruining your game? Unhorsed and defeated yet again? Now introducing the smoothest, safest ride around! The Gelatinous Cube! Annoy your friends! Annoy your friends again! Annoy your enemies! Go where others can! Now, for only 1,800 Zen, you can have it all! Availability and pricing subject to change, not responsible for damage to supplies, equipment, or persons. Always remember to feed your cube. Be free to see the netherworld! Order your Gelatinous Cube today!